We're ready to begin with Wyoming. We have student athletes Taylor Rusk, Quinn Whiteman, Coach Gerald Mattinson. Coach, if we can just start with you, some thoughts on tonight's game.
Oh, I thought it was a hard-fought, scrappy game. Both teams had to dig and scratch. We started out like gangbusters, kind of let some things get away from us, but we battled back, fought the whole way through, and Boise is a very talented team. They're well coached, and they played very well tonight and took us out of some of the things we wanted to do, and we just came up short.
Thank you, Coach. Questions?
In that second quarter, I think they shot 73 or something from the field, but outside of that, I think they only hit like 36.5%. What was it in the second that they were doing? Was that them making shots, or was that defense? What would you say?
I couldn't tell you without looking back over the film. You're playing, you look back, I know some shots were good shots, some shots, they think they banked one in or something during that period. So without looking at the film, I really couldn't tell you what happened. I know they shot the ball well. I know we got confused a couple times on what we wanted to do with their on-ball screens, but without looking at the film, I couldn't really give you a good answer.
You spoke a little bit about it yesterday, but you brought up that New Mexico game in February as kind of a major turning point for you guys. I think you ended up winning 6 in a row after that until this one. What was it about that game specifically that kind of turned the corner for what ended up being a strong season overall?
I think that with a young team, there's a couple of things that you have to do, and we're a young team. I know we have Taylor as a senior. What has to happen is that they have to buy into what they're doing. They have to really want something bad, and at that point of the year, they were prepping, they were preparing, they were studying. They put a lot into it, and we made a couple of mistakes, and they knew it, and it hurt, and it hurt some of them bad. And the next day in practice or in film, they stepped up and said, you know what, this one was on me, this one was on me, this one was on me. Each player to a T. Bought it, took the accountability, and from that point on, that's a growing phase that you need to have to be able to do what this group did.
Coach, you had the most wins of a first-year head coach in Wyoming history. Obviously, this loss hurts, but what can you take forward, into next year?
Well, I take forward. Obviously, we don't take Taylor forward, which means a lot to our program. She's had a great 4 years. But what goes forward is a great group of young women who have, like I said, just with the previous question, have learned to study the game, who have learned to apply the game, who come every day hard and compete in practice, who come every day hard and play. We don't always do the right things, but that's the game of basketball. So going forward, I have a great group of young women who we just talked about in the locker room. Now, they've had enough experience that they've got to take some things upon themselves and go, what do we need to do now in the off season to take the next step? And I'm looking forward to being able to work with this group and and see how those next steps go.
This is for Quinn. You kind of different perspectives on this. Quinn, you're coming back next year. Was likely your last game unless there's a postseason berth of some sort. I believe there's 11 players coming back for next year's team. From your perspective, Quinn, I mean, how optimistic are you about what's to come? And Taylor, what do you kind of see the future of this program looking like?
Yeah, I mean, like Coach said, we were really young this year, so that was not a disadvantage this year, but next year they can definitely use that. A lot of girls got experience, big minutes, and had to step up, and they definitely learned a lot of things this year and can move forward into their sophomore, junior, and senior years.
I agree. I think we got most of our starters, except for Taylor, got a lot more experience this year. We didn't have those minutes that we played last year, so I think it was a big learning experience to kind of be in those tough games, close games, whatever, and then be able to win.
Anything else? Okay, thank you for coming down, Coach. Thank you, ladies.